Converting an E2 visa to an EB-5. To get a green card, E2 visa holders will have to convert the E2 visa to an immigrant visa category. There are many immigrant visas classifications to consider. For example, 1. Company-sponsored green card. 2. EB-1A visa if the applicant have an extraordinary ability. 3. National interest waiver. 4. Marriage-based green card. And 5. EB-5 visa. Let's talk about EB-5 visa option. Converting an E2 visa to an EB-5 visa is one of the most straightforward and natural ways to go from an E2 visa to a green card. The non-immigrant treaty investor visa E2 is often perceived as a younger sibling of the direct EB-5 program. Both E2 and EB-5 allow for benefit of a status based on the investment into a qualifying enterprise. But there are some differences between each visa. 1. The first major difference between the E2 visa and the EB-5 visa is that the E2 visa is a non-immigrant visa, and the EB-5 visa is an immigrant visa. The second major difference between the EB-5 visa and the E2 visa has to do with the applicant nationality. The E2 visa is only available to people possessing the nationality of a country with an E2 treaty with the United States. The third difference between the E2 visa and the EB-5 visa has to do with the minimum investment amount. For an EB-5 visa, applicants are required to invest a minimum of $1,050,000 in a U.S. business. If the investment is a targeted employment area, the invest reduced the amount to $800,000. Targeted employment area is an area of high unemployment or a rural area. On the other hand, the E2 visa does not have a set minimum investment amount. 4. Other difference between the E2 visa and the EB-5 visa has to do with job creation. To get an EB-5 visa, applicants are required to create 10 full-time jobs for U.S. workers. To get an E2 visa, there is no formal requirements for creation of jobs. 5. Also, the extent to which the applicants can work varies. E2 investor can only work for the E2 company. With an EB-5 visa, investor can work in any company. In many cases, the E2 visa holders start inquiring about the possibility of converting their temporary stay in the U.S. into a permanent status. In the first place, all additional capital invested into the business may count towards the minimum investment amount to get an EB-5 visa. One method for E2 investors to transition to a permanent residence green card is by investing more money into their business, thus becoming qualified for an EB-5 green card. E2 investors also have the option of investing in an EB-5 regional center project while continuing to operate the E2 enterprise. A regional center project is typically structured as a limited partnership with investors serving as limited partners. Moreover, these projects generally pull investment capital from many investors, making it much easier to fulfill the job creation requirement. The most significant advantage of the transition from E2 to EB-5 through the investment into the regional center is the possibility of using the assets of the E2 enterprise to collateralize the loan that may serve as a source of funds for the EB-5 investment. Another benefit of investing in your E2 business to get an EB-5 visa is that jobs already created through the initial E2 investment may count toward the 10 jobs that are required to create. The E2 visa also requires that your funds come from a lawful source, but the source of funds requirement for the EB-5 visa is more strict than the source of funds required for an E2 visa. So, it is important for the E2 applicants that want to convert the visa into an EB-5 visa to have a proper planning of the source of funds documentation at the inception of the E2 enterprise. In conclusion, E2 visa holders with a proven track of entrepreneurship, clear source of funds, and available capital cannot be disregarded in the search for qualified investors. Thanks for watching. For more information, please check our other videos.